Hello everyone, and welcome back to AmourologyEd, where we do sex and alternative lifestyle education. My name is Krista, I'm your host. Today we're going to be talking about flirting. So we're going to do kind of a flirting 101, how to flirt, and then kind of how not to be a creep when you're flirting. And all of this information is useful for people of all genders. So when I went on to do some of this research, God, I really hated the articles that I came across. I found that things were really rooted in sexism and were really manipulative and really non-consensual at all. And I was just like, gross. So I want to read some quotes from things that I found because I was just like, I can't even. So some of the things I found were, if you make the game too easy for the girl, she'll get bored and won't want to play. Or, always leave him wanting more, ladies. Gag me with a spoon. I can't even. Yeah, so we're going to go over better ideas about flirting and how not to be a creep. So when I looked up what is flirting, I got a definition off of Google, and the definition that they gave is behave as though attracted to or trying to attract someone, but for amusement rather than with serious intentions. Now this is weird because flirting can lead to serious intentions, but if you think about it as like the more innocent little sibling to hitting on, then this kind of makes more sense. That you can flirt with a barista, you can flirt with friend, you can flirt with whatever, and it's not necessarily meaning that you want to have serious intentions with that person. In fact, we'll get into why intent is so important a little bit later. But for this, just think about it as being like an innocent, flirtatious type style that's less serious than, say, hitting on or trying to pick someone up or blah, blah, blah. I get people saying a lot that they don't really know when people are flirting with them. I don't know if I totally believe this. I used to be one of those people that said this, that I just don't know when people are flirting with me. And then I realized that I was just kind of in denial about whether people were flirting with me or not, that I knew what was happening. We use our intuition all the time when we're communicating with people. And so we know if people are saying something with an intent to compliment us. We know when people are being sarcastic. We know when we read into people's language and body language all the time. And so if you're one of those people that doesn't really realize when people are flirting with them, I would challenge you to maybe really pay attention to your intuition and what that is telling you, and their body language and their language that's coming across and how they're presenting themselves. And you can use some of these tools that we're going to talk about here in order to do that. But if at the end of the day you're still really unsure, just try flirting back with them, seeing what happens. If it escalates, then they were probably flirting with you. If it doesn't and they just react really terribly to it, then they're probably not flirting with you. And there can be ways to do this so that they're not totally put off by the experience. On the other hand, I do get a lot of people saying that they don't know how to flirt. And this one I actually totally buy, that flirting is one of those things like public speaking that you either are just a natural at and know how to do and are comfortable with it, or you realize that you're not very good at it and try to get better. You learn how, or you just avoid it at all costs because it's so terrifying. And so flirting is exactly like this. But the good news is that it is a muscle. It's something that you can learn, and it's something that you can get better at with practice, and we'll talk about a lot of that. Step one of flirting, step one is make sure it's wanted. Oh my gosh, we have all been in a position where we were being flirted with by somebody and we just didn't want to be in that situation. And it was awkward and it was scary at times. And just pay attention. If people are reacting negatively, if their reaction is not one of enthusiasm, if they seem really put off by it, then just stop. Stop trying to flirt with them. Go hike up your knickers and adjust your tie and go fight another day. And the world didn't explode and it's all going to be okay. But pay attention and take no for an answer in whatever form it comes in. A lot of things that I read on the internet were talking about how you should try as often as possible to touch the person and just kind of escalate that touch. I hate that. Don't do that. If somebody touches me without my consent and then starts escalating that touch, that's an immediate turnoff for me. No way. I will not do that. We live in a modern age where consent is becoming more and more prevalent. And so if you really want to touch someone, just ask first. It's not hard. It doesn't destroy the romance. It doesn't destroy what's happening. It shows that you respect that person. And respect is frankly a turn on. That's great. If you respect me and my body and my autonomy, hell yeah. Number 2 on the tips and tricks then is think outside the touch. Think about your smile. Have a soft smile. Think about how your eyes are, what they're projecting, soft eyes. Think about are you approachable? Are you maintaining eye contact? Are you really quick to dismiss any weird things that they say because you're probably saying some weird stuff too and they're not dismissing that? Are you keeping the conversation light and breezy and playful? Think outside of the touch. There are so many other ways to flirt with someone than just touching them. Ew, gross. Think about it this way. It's not so much what you say, it's how you say it. So think about the smiling, laughing, eye contact, keeping it light, keeping it playful. That's what's going to really create the heart of your flirting. 3, be yourself. Okay, I know this is easier said than done sometimes, particularly when you're in a situation that makes you feel vulnerable and you're not used to it. But don't try to go in there and be something that you're not, because that's just real awkward and it shows really terrible intent and people are going to pick up on that. And it's not going to end the way that you want it to. So be yourself, but be an authentic version of yourself. People really value authenticity when it comes across in people. Don't try to impress people. Don't try to say things that aren't true because you think that they're going to want to hear that, because that's just going to backfire. Geek out. Are you passionate about something? Great, you should be. So use that, talk about that. People like hearing about what you're passionate about. And so I don't care what it is. You could be passionate about kayaking or the ukulele or festivals or skydiving. I don't care. Be passionate about something and use that. Talk about it. That helps bring that authenticity to the conversation. 4, confidence. Confidence sells. If you can show that you're confident and comfortable with who you are at any given moment, that's sexy. That's so sexy. I know this one is easier said than done though, because if you're not somebody who feels comfortable flirting, how do you go in there and act like you're confident when you're not? Because you're not. So people are going to pick up on that. So here's a trick that I like to use that is automatically going to boost anybody's look and feel of confidence, even if you don't feel it inside. I like to use a posture corrector. So you can buy these anywhere on the internet. They're really cheap. I think you can get them for like $10 or something, or you can get more expensive ones or whatever, but they can be worn underneath clothing, and so you don't even have to show that you're using them. But posture can go a long way in showing somebody that you're confident, and plus it sometimes, if you're somebody that has breasts, it can perk those out a little bit and make you a little bit more playful too. So there's that. But if after all that, or you're not comfortable doing that, you've just got to be vulnerable and plunge in and say something. Again, it's not so much about what you say, but how you say it. So just start somewhere and say something. And then that vulnerability, practicing that vulnerability and practicing that over and over will build that confidence. This is something that can be learned. You just need to practice, and you need to start somewhere and know that the world isn't going to end if you have this totally awkward conversation. You probably won't even see this person again if you're going to a bar to practice, say, or you're going somewhere that you're not going to run into people all the time or whatever. And just practice and build it. 5, is that what number we're on? Yeah, 5. 5, compliments. Yay! I love compliments. Everybody loves to be complimented. And oh my gosh, I know it can be awkward sometimes to compliment somebody that you've never met, but honestly, just admit that it's awkward and run with it. Acknowledge that. For instance, say hey, I know this might be weird, but I just wanted to let you know that you have really nice hair. And then the conversation can go further or not or whatever. And it didn't have to be, maybe it was awkward, but it didn't have to be as awkward as you probably thought it is. Now with compliments, though, I do like to try to stick to something that the person has control over. I.e. telling somebody that, I don't know, girls hear all the time that they are pretty or beautiful or sexy or blah, blah, blah. It can go way further if you compliment something that they had control over. I really like that outfit you're wearing today. I really like the way you did your hair. I really like that whatever. But something that or the way that you said this, or the way that you present yourself, or it can be anything. Just there's so many options. Just be creative and do it about something that they have control over, because that shows sincerity. 6, enjoy the back and forth. Like we said, flirting is about being playful and seeing if your playfulness is compatible with the other person's playfulness. In order to see if your playfulness is matched, you have to let them be playful, and they have to let you be playful, and they have to find that balance between that back and forth. So just dominating the conversation all the time is not going to be useful, and on the other side, letting the other person talk the entire time is not going to be useful. So find that balance, enjoy that back and forth, that kind of banter, that playfulness, that maybe you're teasing each other, I don't know, but it has to have some back and forth so that you both can get to know each other a little bit better, and that back and forth is what's going to bring out that lightheartedness and that fun to the conversation. Okay, for your 7th, how do I do that? 7th? Yeah, 7th and final tip, intent matters. And this is probably the most important one, actually. I saved the best for last. Yay, you're welcome. Intent matters. You should be wanting to engage in an interesting conversation with somebody. Your goal should be to be interesting and get to know this maybe other interesting person too. If you're constantly trying to get a phone number or a date or more out of the conversation, people are gonna pick up on that, and you're gonna start feeling like a creep. People are gonna think you're a creep. And with this, we are going to go into a little bit more about how not to be a creep. We've talked about kind of what to do in flirting and how not to be a creep. And we're going to kind of expand upon this idea that intent really, really matters. Go in there with the intent to have fun and get to know this interesting person. So, Krista, what is creepy, and how do I avoid being creepy when I'm flirting with someone? Because it's really easy to do, and I get that, and everybody's going to take things differently, and I'm not the expert on all of this subject, so these are all just my opinions and my research and my stuff that I've found going out there, but I'm sure there's lots more information out there, so if you're really interested in the subject, do some research, develop your own theories, blah, blah, blah. But these are the things that I've kind of come up with along my travels and along the research and people that I've talked to as far as how not to be a creep when you're flirting with someone. So the first one is don't be attached to an outcome. We kind of talked about this already. Don't go in there expecting to get the person's number. Go in there just to maybe, have a fun conversation. And then if if you guys both like it and are enjoying it, maybe set up another time when you can make your intentions even more known or whatever. But don't do it the first time that you're flirting with someone, especially. It's bad form. It makes you feel creepy. 2, if someone is not behaving the way you want them, don't get all butthurt about it. People respond so differently to people flirting with them. Maybe there's some trauma there that you've triggered accidentally. Maybe your playfulness style isn't compatible. Maybe you've accidentally offended them, and or maybe they're just not into you, and so they're not reacting in a positive way to the flirting. Don't get butthurt about it. Just move on. There are lots of other people that you can probably flirt with, and they might be more enthusiastic, and it might be a better time for everybody involved. But if you're getting butthurt about it, then you're treating the person like an object that you can control and not like a person. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be treated like an object. Treat them like a person. Next is hiding your intentions. I've seen so much. It's like, you have to be sure that you're showing some mystery and blah, blah, blah. And you can't just be direct about it because it's kind of a game and everybody wants to play this game back and forth and be, no. Don't hide your intentions about something. Don't, for instance, be like, hey, do you need a ride somewhere? And then while they're trapped with you in the car, be trying to flirt with them or trying to pick them up or whatever. Instead, be like, hey, I think you're cute. Would you like to hang out one-on-one? Or like, you can be clear about your intentions and still be flirty and playful. It doesn't have to be this really super awkward thing, but don't hide your intentions. It's not sexy. Don't do it. Last is lowering someone's status to make you feel good. I think that this happens more often than not unconsciously, that we do this as people, that we try to kind of, it's called negging, like neg at somebody else's things that they're saying and like put them down a little bit in order to raise ourselves up and make us look good and make us feel good because we think that that's sexy to people or whatever, or we don't realize that we're doing it or whatever. But just be nice. Be nice. Don't be an asshole. Don't put somebody down in order to make yourself look better. Just be authentic and be nice and be playful, and they'll love you for it. Okay, as always, there's lots more I can go into on this subject. If you have a tip or trick that you like to use, please feel free to post it in the comments. Share that. Or if there's something that I said here that you just really hate, that you're like, no, never, I will punch somebody if they do that, I don't know. Great. Post that in the comments. Let me know, because everybody is different, and I want to make sure, again, that I'm not the expert on flirting. So please let me know what's worked for you and what hasn't worked for you, so people can see that and kind of decide for themselves what they think will work best for them. And that's it for today's show, folks. So as always, you can find me at AmourologyEd. You can find me on all social media at AmourologyEd. You can join my wonderful Facebook group and have lots more of these conversations at AmourologyEd. And you can join my Patreon if you want. I have Patreon starting as little as $1 a month. It's just a way to say thank you if you're liking this content or you want me to keep doing it or whatever. If you want to support your artists, I don't know. But it really does go a long way in not necessarily helping my income, because it really doesn't, right? It's not very much, but it shows me that people care, and it shows me that they are listening, and it gives me a good confidence boost. So, man, please compliment me. And then you can like and subscribe. Please tell a friend if you think this content is useful. That really can go a long way. What else? I think that's pretty much it. So please post something in the comments if you have any other suggestions for people. Thanks so much.